Hey everyone, Andang here to talk about some new information for the Lord of the Rings Online and how news companies responded to it. Let's go ahead and hop right on in. So here we can see Standing Stone Games is announcing that the open questing for all their adventures and stories will be completely free until May 31st, 2020. This, of course, is Standing Stone Games' response for players to the COVID outbreak, giving the entirety of the game, basically all the content, the core chunk, completely free to players, including the most recent update that came out at the end of April. It's the end of April right now. It literally just came out last week, and it's free as well the entire next month. It's amazing what they're doing. As far as I know, this is by far the best AAA dev response to the COVID outbreak. It's amazing. Their whole game is free for 10 weeks, including expansion quests, everything. What company does that? What's even more amazing is that they did it for 6 weeks already, right? They decided, hey, let's continue that another 4 weeks. That's what I really want to talk about tonight. Was this, the first 6 weeks, a good experiment? And did this next week encourage them that, hey, maybe we don't have to charge for content? What I'm really interested is, are they making a similar amount of money now, having all the quests free? So if you think about it, there's all those new players coming into the game, and if all of them are brought into the LOTRO ecosystem, I could see a lot of them, and I mean a lot of them, buying LOTRO points, doing things like that. And so I'm wondering, like, I think Standing Stone Games really is just doing this for the nice aspect of it, but maybe there's a monetary side too, right? I don't know. It's definitely a marketing thing. Like, it's a huge word of mouth spread. Like, my goodness. But it's really, as far as news goes, only made it into the MMO news sites. The only, like, AAA news site that I've seen was PC Gamer, which reports on a ton of MMO news anyway. So that's not like an IGN or something like that. Or even a GameSpot, I don't think, is reported on this, as far as I could tell. And GameSpot has a writer that writes a lot of Lord of the Rings Online articles, so I was kind of surprised by that. But good on PC Gamer for writing this article. While I was researching for this, and this is kind of just a total aside, I found out that the Boston Globe, because for those that don't know, Standing Stone Games is based out of Boston. That's the developer that makes Lord of the Rings Online and Dungeons & Dragons Online. The Boston Globe actually wrote up a whole piece about Standing Stone Games and how they're going against Amazon and stuff like that. This is as mainstream of a news article as I've seen for LOTRO in a long time, so it was cool to find this. Where are all these other companies, right? There should be articles, like when the Amazon MMO was announced, people did mention in the footnote that LOTRO exists. But LOTRO just did a huge thing. They made their whole game, including expansions, free for 10 weeks. As far as I know, no other MMO studio, AAA MMO studio, has ever done that. Maybe they have, but I've never heard about it. In which case, it's still an issue of news companies not getting the word out. Maybe IGN just doesn't know, but it's Standing Stone Games' job to make them know, right? So assuming that they've done that, it's either Standing Stone Games' mistake for not letting IGN know, or it's IGN's mistake for not reporting on it. Because to me, this is huge news, especially with the fact that there's an Amazon MMO coming on the scene. If anything, this could be played up as a rivalry between the two companies. I don't know if Standing Stone Games would like that, but, this article in the Boston Globe was certainly written about a rivalry between them, so who knows. But I just wish that there was more coverage for LOTRO, especially when they're doing a once-in-a-lifetime deal like this. Like, I'd put this equivalent with when they offered lifetime VIP, you know, for only 200 bucks, right? Like, it's right up there with as big of news as that. I mean, it's a huge deal, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And a lot of players have found out, but I think they've mostly found out through word of mouth or other MMO sites, right? I don't think they've found out from that mainstream content, and that's really frustrating. Like, as far as I know, like I said earlier, this is the best response out of any AAA company to this whole thing. And in the mainstream game news, the only thing I found was from PC Gamer. And maybe I'm just missing them. Maybe they don't have good SEO optimization for like the term LOTRO. But it's crazy to me that there hasn't been more coverage of this. Don't get me wrong, this is such a positive thing. I don't mean to make it be a downer, but it could be like an even bigger thing and promote LOTRO even further, right? But back to what I was talking about earlier. I think it'll be really interesting to see if LOTRO changes anything in their free-to-play model after this free period's over. Even if they just said, all right, all of Shadows of Angmar's free, I think that would be a huge, huge deal for a lot of players, right? Because it seems like this is, as far as I can tell, the first marketing push LOTRO's had to getting a bunch of new players in the game since free-to-play, back in 2010. So maybe LOTRO only promotes their game every 10 years, I don't know. But this is such a huge, like, promotional thing. It'll be interesting to see if the environment of LOTRO changes, or if this really is just like 10 weeks is over and that's it, we're back to normal LOTRO. I know Joseph Bradford over at MMORPG.com, he wrote up a whole write-up about how LOTRO expansions should be included with the new expansion, right? Do the MMO industry standard and follow that. I feel like LOTRO had an amazing free-to-play platform when it launched. In fact, it was the best deal on the market for a AAA Western free-to-play game. It was amazing, a huge, crazy deal. They saw how successful DDO was, and they decided, you know what? We increased our revenue a ton with DDO. Let's try it out in LOTRO. They had to move DDO to free-to-play, according to the articles at the time. They didn't have to move LOTRO. They chose to because of how successful the model is. And look at where MMOs are now, right? Pretty much every MMO is either buy-to-play or free-to-play. Except for WoW. So it'd be awesome if LOTRO changed something to be more competitive in today's market. This is a huge, huge plus in the right direction, right? Like, they could do nothing for a year and this marketing push would be a huge boon to the game, right? But why not capitalize that while the players are still around, while all those new players are still there? Do something crazy, a little crazy. You know, not as crazy as what you've already done, but do something a little crazy. Make Shadows of Angmar free. Maybe make even more of the game free. Maybe even just make Evendim free, so the last taste of a zone is not the Lone Lands, one of the least liked zones as far as an overall player base has decided. There's plenty of people that love Lone Lands, but in general it seems like the majority of the players that go through Shadows of Angmar, Lone Lands is usually what most people consider to be their least enjoyable experience. It's either that or North Downs, one of the two. So I think just adding in North Downs is free wouldn't do that much for a lot of players. I think they need to add in Evendim or something strong like that at minimum, if not all of Shadows of Angmar. I mean, it's like, what, 14 years old now, or however many years LOTRO's been around? Make it free. Ponton, welcome, welcome. Nice to have you here. They say EverQuest does that. Buy latest X pack and get all previous. Seriously? See, I thought it was a Daybreak thing, so it's apparently just SSG, right? What's SSG doing? Yeah, I totally don't get it. All those previous expansions should be included in the purchase of a new expansion. That's such a cool thing. I'm really looking forward to buying the new Elder Scrolls Online expansion, just because they made all the previous expansions free. So I can get Morrowind and I don't remember the other one. I already have Somerset, but I don't have the others. Anyway, that's a separate topic, but you know, I can get expansions that I don't have already. Fantastic. That's how every new expansion would be. And I think players would be a lot more happy with the price tags of the expansions, right? If they would do that. I think they could charge more. They could charge $50 for the base version if they included all previous versions of it in there. Why not? That's what all the other game companies are doing now. You go and buy the latest Elder Scrolls expansion, costs $50, but I think what it would do is it bring in a lot of new players, which I think would be a big, big thing. Hey, Dia Plazo, thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate it. So there's the expansion side of it. I'd like to see improvements there. I was thinking earlier, let's say that this model that they're doing right now is really beneficial to them. Let's say it's making them a lot of money or at least bringing in a lot of players. I think a way that they could adapt the content in an interesting way would be to make all side zones free to all players. And make expansions free to VIPs. With how many expansions LOTRO's doing every year, I think they'd probably be making enough money doing it that way. They'd get a huge surge in VIP subs. I think it'd be a win-win for everybody. And it'd allow VIPs to still have content that only they get for free. And it'd be freaking expansions, which would be awesome as a VIP player. Like, seriously, I think that would be amazing if LOTRO did something like that. Or even just give VIPs a discount on expansions, right? That would be cool too. But I think, at the very least, LOTRO needs to do something if they're not going to continue this on beyond even May 31st. To keep players that have come into the game and found out what's going on, to keep them here. Because I'm not sure the 10-week trial is completely enough with the huge price tag and time commitment that is in place of a 14-year-old MMO, right? So I think coming out of this, LOTRO would benefit immensely if they just did something. Something in addition to this to keep players getting siphoned through the content, encourage them to continue playing, right? You looked up to see how EverQuest does it? Yeah, that makes sense. So anyway, that's kind of my thoughts. I wish more people would be reporting on this. Hey, Great Storm, welcome, welcome. And I wish LOTRO would do something coming out of this, right? And once again, it'll be very interesting to see how many players actually like joined up through this and how many more players we'll have for this Gundabad expansion, right? I think it'll be really cool. But right now, it's all in LOTRO's hands, right? It's LOTRO's game to lose right now. They've got all these new players coming into their game. It's up to them to keep them there. And I think there'll be quite a few players that had no idea LOTRO existed and are happy to be paying for all of it, right? Just like the players have been for all these years before. But with how old LOTRO is, I think they need to start making more of it free. just to be competitive in today's MMO market. So, anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think, and I'll see you again real soon for some more Lord of the Rings content. Take care, everybody, and have a wonderful rest of your day.